Intra. You guys have been asking for more lockdown horror stories, so I dug through submissions and found 3 that are honestly some of the creepiest ones I've read. These all happened during real school lockdowns, and I promise you, story number 3 is going to stick with you for a while. Story 1, The Substitute. It was my sophomore year, second period, and we had a substitute teacher that day because our regular teacher was out sick. Nobody really liked substitutes because it usually meant a free period, so the class was loud, kids were out of their seats, and honestly nobody was paying attention to anything. About 20 minutes into class, the intercom clicked on, and instead of the usual calm announcement voice, it was the vice principal, and she sounded completely different than I'd ever heard her. She said this was a code red, not a drill, and that every teacher needed to lock their doors immediately. The substitute froze for a second like she didn't even know what a code red meant. One of the kids near the front had to tell her to lock the door and turn off the lights. We all crammed into the corner by the windows, the one spot you couldn't see from the hallway. For the first few minutes it was just this heavy silence, everyone staring at each other, trying not to breathe too loud. Then we heard it, someone trying door handles down the hallway, one by one, slow and deliberate. Not running, not panicking, just calmly checking every single door. When it got to ours, the handle turned. It was locked, thank God, but whoever it was didn't leave right away. We could see a shadow under the door just standing there for almost a full minute before it finally moved on. We found out later it was a former student who had been expelled the year before. He'd gotten back into the building through a side door that was propped open for a delivery. Security caught him near the gym before he ever reached the office. To this day, I still think about that shadow under the door, just standing there, not saying a word. Story 2, The Fire Drill That Wasn't. This happened during my senior year, and it still messes with me because at first, none of us realized anything was actually wrong. The fire alarm went off during 4th period, which honestly happened all the time at our school because the wiring was old and it went off randomly. So everyone groaned, grabbed their bags, and started filing out like it was nothing. We got to the courtyard where we normally lined up, except this time the teachers weren't organizing us into rows like usual. They looked confused, some of them were on their phones, and a couple of them were actually walking toward the gate instead of standing still. Then a teacher I didn't recognize came sprinting across the courtyard, yelling for everyone to get back inside immediately. At first people laughed thinking it was some kind of joke, until we saw actual panic on her face. That's when everyone realized this wasn't a normal fire drill at all. We were rushed back into the nearest classroom, easily 40 of us crammed into a room built for 30. The teacher barricaded the door with a filing cabinet while we all sat on the floor. Someone whispered that the fire alarm had actually been pulled on purpose, as a way to get everyone outside and out in the open. We stayed like that for almost an hour. When it was finally over, the office told us a man matching the description of someone banned from campus had pulled the alarm and was seen near the parking lot with what looked like a weapon. He was never caught. For weeks after that, every single fire alarm made the entire school go dead silent before anyone moved. Story 3, The Night Shift. I used to work as a janitor at my old middle school, mostly evening shifts after the students went home. I liked it honestly. It was quiet, low stress, and I got to listen to music while I worked. One night I was mopping the hallway near the science wing around 8 p.m., way after everyone had left, when the hallway lights started flickering. I figured it was just the old wiring again. It happened sometimes, so I didn't think much of it. Then I heard footsteps, not from outside, but from inside one of the locked classrooms down the hall. Slow, dragging footsteps, like someone was packing back and forth. I knew for a fact every classroom had been locked and checked before I started my shift, so nobody should have been in there. I called the front office, but nobody picked up since it was after hours. So I stood there in the hallway, mop in hand, staring at that door, trying to convince myself it was just the building settling or a raccoon that had gotten in through a vent. The footsteps stopped. Then, slowly, the doorknob started to turn from the inside. I didn't wait to see what came out. I dropped everything and left through the nearest exit, calling the police from the parking lot. When officers searched the building, they found a man had broken in through a first-floor window earlier that day and had been hiding inside the school the entire time, waiting for it to empty out. He was arrested without incident, but to this day I have no idea how long he'd actually been in there, or what he was waiting for.